I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you were on social media? Probably today, right? In fact, I'd be willing to bet that you closed Instagram 30 seconds before starting this video. You're kidding me. You're on it right now while I'm talking to you? Come on. Do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Put it down just for the next 8 minutes. I know it's a long time. I mean, let's be honest, in that amount of time, you could probably find out what your 69 best friends have been up to in the last 24 hours. All the drinking, the partying, the bars, the clubs. Wait, we're in a pandemic. So what are you looking at? Throwbacks? Come on, it's not fascinating. I'm just kidding. But honestly, you were probably just using it as a tool, right? Sending a message, catching up on what's going on in the world. But is it really a tool? Because by definition, a tool is something that's sitting there, waiting for you to use it. A tool, for example, you could look for when you're bored in a relationship, trying to spice things up a little. Personally, I'd go to my dedicated cupboard and maybe pick out some furry handcuffs. That would just spark everyone's curiosity, no? But is social media the same thing? Do you use it in the same way, as a tool? And that's exactly what I want to think about, whether or not it's a tool in that way. I remember when I was turning 11, maybe 12, and you know, it's a period in your life when a lot of things are changing. You're discovering new things. You're discovering all the beautiful things life has to offer. For example, fast cars, fast women. But at the same time, there was something massive happening. And that was the discovery of Facebook, or more like the creation of Facebook. And the hype really started in the late 2000s with all this social media craze. And by 2012, halfway through, already 1 billion users were active on the platform. There'd never been this kind of platform with a kind of reach that spreads like wildfire. A platform that could be accessed anywhere. I mean, anything that had that kind of reach in the past didn't exist. Maybe besides the church. But let's be honest, they had a bit of a head start. So we'll leave them as an exception. This access to a platform where you could discuss anything with anyone at any time was crazy. I remember when I was discovering groups like, they were called, "I don't care how comfortable Crocs are, you look like a dumbass." And it was incredible. But what was even more fascinating than these platforms was the fact that they were free. You were given them. You could access it without paying for anything. Something so impressive, so valuable, so fun. And so I think there's a question that we rarely ask ourselves today is that how can it be free? And why would companies and people put so much time and energy into designing new games, new platforms, optimizing our user experience, all of that free of charge? I know I couldn't personally figure it out. I'm not smart enough for that kind of thing. But a few guys in the Silicon Valley explained what had happened. And there's a lesson that I want us to think about first. And it's that if you're not paying for a product, then you are the product. And it's very important to keep that in mind when we're talking about social media. Markets of social media operate, actually let me rephrase that. The markets on which social media dominate is the market for attention. And the way that they grab that attention, their whole business model is based around 3 things. The first thing is engagement. So how long can they keep you on those platforms, interested, scrolling around? The second one is growth. How many people can they bring in? How quickly can it grow? How quickly can a person become famous? And the third one is advertising. And that's the absolute key to monetizing these platforms. There's a secret sauce that we're looking for in this whole operation. And that's the manner in which they get all those pillars. The guys behind the screens designing all of these, they'd never expected to achieve something on this scale before. And the way they managed to do that was with a very ingenious thing, which is they took the psychology of persuasiveness, exploiting human weaknesses, and they put that directly into technology. And this is something that's beyond our ability to control. We all fall prey to these ingenious tricks that they integrate on the platforms. Some of these things keep us on for incredulous amounts of time. And the kinds of things I'm talking about are the ellipsis, when you're waiting for a message, those 3 little dots, or even the infinite scroll, the fact that you can endlessly analyze what's going on, learning new things, meeting new people. Or even when you get a notification that you've been tagged in a post, but you have to go onto the platform to see it. It'd be very easy for them to simply have it on your opening screen without accessing it. But that's precisely their goal, is to get you onto the platform. Because once you're on the platform, it's game over. I mean, let's be honest. We've all been working hard and 4:20 hits the clock and you decide, okay, it's time for a break. You sit back on the couch and you spark up your telephone. You go surfing a bit and you look at it and all your friends, all of what they've been up to, your social life, because it's important to keep up with what's going. But how often, after trying to spend 5 minutes, do you end up an hour and a half later looking up from your phone and realizing it's dark outside? I want you to think about something. There are only 2 types of clients that are called users, 2 industries where you call your customers users. The first one's the drug industry, and the second one's the social media industry, or the software maybe a bit more generally, but particularly in social media. And jokes aside, we're facing a real crisis with this. But don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the drugs, I'm talking about the social media here. Algorithms that are designed behind these social media platforms that keep us on it, algorithms are not objective. Algorithms are opinions that are buried inside the codes. And so it works this sort of magic wheel that doesn't show you what you want to see. It shows you what it thinks will keep you seeing, will keep you on those platforms for as long as possible. Remember that the human brain has been evolving over thousands of years progressively at a relatively slow rate. Relatively slow compared to something like computer processing power that allows for this technology to advance. That technology has multiplied by more than 3 trillion times in only the last 25 years. Only the last 25 years. And since I've started speaking, it's probably gone up. We are intrinsically social animals. Human connection is biologically ingrained. And so with that connection, we aim to find some sort of social acceptance. But that social acceptance was always limited by the number of people around us, our acquaintances, the people we meet. With social media, that's not the case anymore. We're subconsciously trying to be accepted by millions of people around the world online, digitally. And so our social network has expanded incalculably. The narrative with these kinds of incredible technological discoveries has always been that we'll adapt, we'll get used to it. But with this sort of animal, social media, I'm not sure that rule applies. There's a competition between our tiny little human brains and these crazy supercomputers. These supercomputers keep tabs on us every single time we're on it. They learn to understand what makes us triggered by something. But I'd even go as far as to say that it learns how to trigger us. It teaches us what to be triggered by. Sophocles once said, "Nothing vast enters the life of humans without a curse." We're in a race with technology at the moment, and there's always been this conception that we need to be prepared for the day where technology surpasses human strengths. But a much more important point, a much more important milestone that we rarely talk about is when technology surpasses human weaknesses. So what I want you to do is the next time that you're in a meeting or in a classroom and you're bored, dire need of a distraction, instead of picking up that phone and surfing endlessly through social media, I want you to go to my cupboard and get those furry handcuffs, wave them around, and show everyone what you can do with them. Thank you.